Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that, well, you're not family, Oos. JC.
Since day one, baby.
Yeah. We got a lot to talk about. We got Halloween Havoc. We've got a lot of AEW to talk about. And we've also got Crown Jewel and everything else in between. Bound for Glory happened, if you want to talk about that. I mean, there's plenty of things we could have on the docket.
There's a lot of wrestling going on right now here as we wind down the October and 2 days away from Halloween Nestlemania. But the Havoc happened on Sunday. We're going to get to that as well. But Nestlemania, where do we start the show?
In the Shine.
Always in the Shine, much like Mandy Rose, who's a former star of Halloween Havoc. But Nestlemania, I have to start on Monday Night Raw.
Oh.
Because something magical happened on Monday Night Raw.
Do tell.
Dirty Dominic Mysterio is your number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. He beat Damian Priest 1-2-3, clean as a sheet, baby. Dirty Dom is going to beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight title.
I
fought for this so much.
So I will say this much. I don't know how to say this. I don't think he's the number one contender. I think he just beat a former world champion.
Well, he said if you want to earn a spot, you need to beat a former world champion.
I think you're putting the cart before the horse.
So as far as I'm concerned, Dirty Dominic Mysterio is the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. And him and Gunther, that match is going to fucking rule. But the reason why I love this is because they've done these stupid backstage things the last couple of weeks, and you're like not taking it serious, like, oh, he's just going to get squashed by Priest or Braun. But the fact that he won is such a cool wrinkle because it continues to make it so Priest has to keep clawing to get this opportunity. It's not just happening for him. And we still have Finn kind of lurking in the wings, being all upset about Priest. So I think we got some fun stuff ahead before Priest. I mean, the way they're building this, it could be a while before Priest actually gets that shot. Because, I mean, look, they can do Gunther and Dom on a Monday. And it'll be a fun little thing. And Gunther will probably take care of business. I would be one to betting. Who knows? Maybe if Cody beats him this weekend, they let Dom have the match on Monday so Gunther can get his shit back.
Well, in my head, we've got at least Dom, Priest, Punk, and Goldberg in the foreseeable future here for him.
It's always good to have contenders for your champion.
Right. Yeah, and he's gonna have an interesting thing to say to all four of these people. It's gonna be wonderful. I will say this much. Kudos to whoever thought of the idea of letting Dom win. Because here's the thing, right? Like, we all thought it was a foregone conclusion that Dominic was going to lose.
100%.
Right? And so, like, my thought is like, let's just go for an exploration in your mind for a second, right? Priest beats Dom. Doesn't really do anything. We've seen it before. But to have the nuts to go, let's explore this ridiculous option and see where it goes adds a plethora of possibilities across the board that none of us were thinking it was possible. And I think that's amazing to me, where you pull out something like that, even though it's small and minuscule. He can talk about beating Damian Priest the rest of his career. You know what I mean? Because Damian Priest is legit, you know, and I think that's great for Dom. I do like the backstage segment stuff where it seems like Finn's a little pissed and they're going to break off. You could see JD trying to figure out which way to go. Was it to stay with the group or go with Finn? He went with Finn eventually. He's like, why does nobody believe in me? And then like Carlito from the back was like, I believe in you, but nobody was listening to him. And of course, like the two women were like, we kind of believe in you or whatever. But like, it was so interesting to me that like, here we are flirting with the breakup again. It's like,
I mean, we've been flirting for years.
but it's just so funny to me where it's just like, how much more can we do this like off and on again thing? And it's
worked this far. That's the thing. Now, how many times we've had the conversation and be like, oh, feel like the Judgment Day's run its course, and then they continue to like throw a little spice on it. So, and right now, like, I mean, we talked about the Carlito stuff last week. Like, there's so many moving parts within this group, and they've done a good job, and they've subbed in new members like seamlessly. It's just one of these things where it's like you can take something that works, do little tweaks in it along the way, where your structure is still working, but you can move in out little pieces and stories. And I think it's been really, really well done. But I thought this was a fun thing because I also think it's great for Priest because making the babyface work is always good in wrestling, in my opinion.
The chase is always better than the title. That's
100%.
exactly. And the other thing too is I'm just curious too, because the Judgment Day has been around for like 2.5 years. Yeah. That's a long time to continue.
They started it as Edge, Rhea, and Damian. None of them who are now in the Judgment Day. That's what I think is the coolest part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I watch things and it's funny. There is a comparison in my brain where it feels like there's the Judgment Day and there's the Bloodline. And we've never really had those two kind of, we've had them a couple of times intermingle a little bit, but it is interesting how there are similarities and a lot of differences as well. But it seems like the formulas work. So I'm not complaining about it, but I think having Dom get his chance is going to be, here's the thing. I could see Dom losing this and that's fine. But there's something about Dom carrying a Money in the Bank briefcase.
Oh, I've wanted that for years now.
It seems like he's the ultimate person now on the roster to have it. Doesn't need to win. I mean, it would be great if he did.
I would like if he did, even if it was for like a week.
But it seems like especially now with the Latino cheat sign t-shirt, like it just works with the character. So
he will be a world champion at some point, but he's got probably like 20 to 30 years to do it. So it's not that bold of a statement.
All right.
He's got a long career ahead of him.
Okay. That's fine. What else would you like to talk about?
It was a good week for tag teams, Nestlemania. Obviously, we had all this stuff going on SmackDown, but we also had a tag team reunite in the Usos, the greatest of all time. But in terms of like the Bloodline stuff, it's like, look, Bloodline cost Jay cost the Bloodline. But I thought a lot of that stuff, I thought it was crazy how fast they did it. And I was actually kind of thought it was cool because obviously they were taping this early. So the spoilers started getting out. And people were like, oh, this is until next week. And then you find out it actually, no, it all happened in the same episode because obviously the Machine Guns took down DIY and the Yippers, the Tongas, and all of them, they all came out. And because I always think of the Yippers because Tom is always like, like a little chihuahua. You got the freaking Fatu, who's like the wolf dog, and then you got Tom, who's just like,
we got the big dog, we got the wolf, and the yip.
Yeah, you got the little yip, and then we got Tongaloa, who's just my favorite because he's Tongaloa. But yeah, no, I mean, look, we got some great tag team wrestling first of all, but we get the new champions. I mean, in their third match they're the champs for the Machine Guns, so pretty crazy. I mean, normally like hot shotting doesn't work. I think with this group it does. And the fact that they interweaved all the storylines and now it's just like Bloodline business over here and we can actually focus on having a tag division. So, but either way, like I think we won this week because we got a lot of good tag team wrestling. And even on Raw, that triple threat was fucking awesome too.
I'm just curious how you feel because I have my own feelings about the Machine Guns because of who they are. But as a person that's probably not as well acquainted with them as much as many others, did you feel like it did too much so soon? Do you feel like it works?
No, because I've seen them plenty of times.
Okay.
When I used to kind of pay attention more to TNA, like I know how good these guys are, and the way they presented them as legit, and like, the crowd tells it all too, and the crowd has reacted to them well because they recognize, even if you didn't know who they were at some point, like the guy next to you might have been like, "Hey, these guys are a big deal," and then you see them, you're like, "Oh wow, they're really good." So, again, it's one of those things. Like normally with hot shotting, like if you do it with someone young, it doesn't always work, especially as baby faces. But with this group, it doesn't matter to me, man. Because we know they're ready. We know they're primed, and we know they can slot in and be one of the top teams in the company.
I thought it was unbelievable that it was like, oh my God, we're doing it right now. Like right now, like I thought it was next week and I would have, because you see the spoiler, you're like, okay, well, whatever. No, it was the same night. And so it's kind of crazy to me that it happened. On the flip side of the coin was the tag team of the War Raiders or the Vikings winning, which is great because I think they need to get those titles off of the Judgment Day because those have been just side piece plates in the background, and so that sucks. But aloha, connecting to people through wrestling. I love this person. They've got quite a following here, but thank you for being part of us.
Are they from Hawaii or do they just like saying aloha?
You can ask. I'm sure they'll respond. Right. Maybe they are from Hawaii. Maybe they just like saying hello. Mahalo, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. No, but look, tag team wrestling hopefully is on the upswing here because I think that's the biggest piece that we've been missing. And even the women's tag team division seems like it's sort of getting some play.
I mean, they got the big match at Crown Jewel, which we'll be previewing later in the show. I believe it is a fatal four-way with a team from each brand, which I thought was really cool. I think that's the beauty of this division. It's something you can really only do with this division is like it can kind of be everywhere. So it'll be interesting. I'm glad they're getting that spotlight.
They used to play keys in a Hawaiian reggae band. There you go.
Oh, nice.
Maybe you can play the Jobber Knocker theme. I'm kidding. You have way better things to do, I'm sure. Hence connecting people through reggae part. That makes sense. I learned something today. Thank you. Today was not a waste. I learned something. That's great. So yeah, again, we're excited. There's a lot of tag team wrestling on. I would like to, can I go something in the shine that I thought was very shine worthy?
Yes.
Super small, but I think exponentially exciting, right? Okay. On Monday Night Raw, there was a great match between Kaiser and Sheamus. Now, we know that was going to be good. That's not a surprise here. What I was really excited for, from a production standpoint, I thought this was great. How many times have we tuned into Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, NXT even, suicide dive out to the outside, person revs up. We'll be right back after commercial break. But did you see what they did for the first ad break for this? Because this is what I thought was phenomenal. They beat the piss out of each other. They beat a 10 count. They were so exhausted. They were both laying down on the ground. They went to the aerial shot, looking down at the ring and said, we'll be right back. And I was like, this is fucking great. It's so good when you switch up the pace of something, because I didn't expect it. It was something because when they're on the outside, you're like, okay, 30 seconds or less, and we're going to ads. This made me feel like they tried something new. And I applaud them for trying something new. And I thought it worked really well from a production standpoint. The shot above, seeing exhausted people beating the crap out of each other, running into the ring instead of being out of the ring. I think they need to try more of these kind of experimental things, because it makes it feel live and not so running through the motions of television production and wrestling. And from our standpoint, from a TV standpoint, I just like seeing new shit. So I applaud them very much on a very, very small detail, but I thought it was really well done.
I feel like they've done a good job mixing it up, because I know they added the slow-mo stuff probably it's probably like 6 months now, where they'll take a cool movie. Like you said, it's normally like the suicide dive, but like that's something, at least like it was a different view than like the normal. It'd be like, oh, we're cutting away. They just went outside. So, because yeah, like you said, it's always very easy to predict when they're about to go to commercial, but it is nice that they're like, it feels like that. It wasn't just we've kind of seen this with NXT with some of the experimentation with production, but obviously, like as the more Triple H has taken over, it's been a lot more emphasis on the production, obviously with the other people who have exited as well. But it seems like they've just been willing to experiment more and like, that's what TV is all about, man. Like, it's just like you try shit, doesn't work, you don't do it again. If it does work, you continue to try to make it better.
I agree. What else did you like? Anything else?
How did you feel about Cody and Gunther on SmackDown?
So, on SmackDown specifically, I enjoyed it. I thought that was well done. I love that he interrupted the woe.
Yeah.
And the fact that Cody was like, no, you interrupted the woe. We got to give the people the woe. And I was like, okay, let's go. That was great. I did love, the thing is I thought this was, this is probably me being hyperbolic, whatever, that's fine. I thought this was Gunther's best promo to date. And here's why.
He's had a lot of really good ones.
He's had a lot of.
This was a strong promo. This was a very strong promo, because, I mean, look when you're going out there with Cody, like you got to raise your game, and it just like he did. He for sure. I'd have to think about that if it was his best ever, because I think I saw someone else say that too.
But can I explain why?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. It's no detriment to anybody he's faced yet. However, in my opinion, Cody Rhodes is so good at speaking. He's on the John Cena level of being able to take a Boeing flip, spin it. This was the moment that I thought Gunther kind of turned the tables here and made it feel like, oh, I can surpass you, Cody, speaking. And it's not his first language. So for me, it's like, if you can go toe-to-toe with Cody and hang, that's good enough. But I thought he actually did better in this promo than Cody did, because he was like, it has nothing to do with your daughter. And he just kind of dressed him down. And he's like, it was so good. He's like, you cannot say no because you need to be loved. I can say no anytime I want. And I have, and they still let me do whatever I want. I love that aspect of it, because it's just that barrier of Gunther being a dick and Cody Rhodes just being like, please love me. I think that's a wonderful little trinket there. And then the last part, which is, if you're a Rhodes, you're a Rhodes, right? Like, you love drama. And I just thought that was such a nice, like, all you do is drama. You get in there, you do drama. He goes, I don't have time for this shit. I think that that's great, because it just leads to so many cookie crumbs, right? Like the drama with KO and Randy Orton, the drama with the bloodline. And there's so many things that are just outside of his scope of focusing on Gunther, that I just thought it was such a nice little nugget. And like I said, Gunther's really hitting we know that the matches are great, but the promo was always strong. But now I'm getting to a point where I'm looking forward more to the promo, because I'm looking at growth here. I don't need to know about growth with Gunther. There's nothing that needs to change. It's perfect in the ring. But the growth exponentially in the last like 3 to 6 months that he's had promo wise has been really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you hear it all the time in like all sports and like wrestling too. It's like you put a championship on someone if like you level up, because it's one of those things like you get to a certain level, you can win a championship, but to like maintain it and be a good champion, you have to almost double what you've been doing. And he's one of those guys, the perfect example where it's just like you look at him, it's like, yeah, he's leveled up with it. And we've talked about that championship a lot, mostly negative in his history, but with him, it feels legit. And he's made it feel legit. He was the guy to elevate that championship to a level where it does feel closer to the freaking piss belt that Cody's holding finally. So, because it hasn't been that way at all. I mean, we've come on here every week that Seth held it, and we're just like yawning about it. But with Gunther, it's just like he leveled up and he took that championship with him. And that's why this super match, like, look at, again, we've been pretty clear how we feel about it. I wish this feud was at like WrestleMania for one championship, not for this stupid fucking Saudi championship, but like it's Gunther's made it feel like he is on Cody's level, which is something in the past that championship has not felt like.
Now we can talk about this later, but I just want to ask you now, and you can say we can table it for later for prediction wise. Is it weird if this match doesn't go on last based on the fact that they're trying to make the title a big deal, knowing that there's the Bloodline 6-man? Like, is it a disservice? Is it a disservice?
I would be shocked if this wasn't last.
Okay, that's my question, because I feel like it's a disservice to the people of Saudi Arabia if you're trying to make a championship.
I mean, it's a stupid fake belt anyways, but
I know that.
Like the main event, like the six like Bloodline War Games, yeah, that'll main event. But Bloodline, the 6-man tag, which I'm assuming is going to be Jacob and the Tongas versus Roman and the Usos, which means Roman and the Usos will probably run train. That feels like maybe the co-main, or it's the opener, like the hot start. But
okay,
we'll see.
That's fine. All right. Anything else?
I would honestly do the women's match, and then this match is the last two, because if you want to make these championships feel special, that's what you do. But we'll see what they do.
We'll see. Anything else you want to talk about? No, time to get heaty. Okay. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Where do we begin? Do we begin with LA Knight fucking up Game 7? I mean, that's.
Yeah. Did he turn heel?
It feels like it.
It feels like it, right? Because if not, then this was just bad.
I was. It was a head scratcher for me, because it was like I get what they're trying to do here with a triple threat, but it just feels so convoluted.
There's an easier way to set up a triple threat than how they did it.
And the fact that he has a title with his like little insignia on the strap now, I was like, that's kind of a heel thing too. You know what I mean? Like, he's full of himself. I get it, and but has LA Knight jumped the? Well, I was gonna say leapt the dolphin or jumped the shark. Is it over?
He leapt the shark, or did he jump the dolphin?
I mean, it feels like he might have a little bit here.
This was definitely weird. I don't think the crowd's going to turn him, if that's what you're asking.
No, they like chanting.
You've been turning him for a while. As you made quite clear the past month, he has been like your favorite target, like in the Nestle. Pew, pew, pew. But,
all I'm saying is,
I'm just saying. But no,
bring me
this
more.
Week, I was watching this and I was like, I feel like he just turned heel, but I feel like next week he's going to come on here and be all babyface again. Like it never, it's just like, it's weird. And like, look, he has that type of like character personality where he's supposed to be like the badass cool guy, but it's just like, no, this just felt more heel. That's why it just, for me, I was watching, I'm like, it was weird. I don't love how they did it. I think there was a much better way to do this. And obviously, like, look, it saves the Game 7 for down the road, whatever. Because we knew they were doing a triple threat with these guys at some point. So I agree. Something could have happened here, but the way they did it with Knight it just felt weird. It was weird.
And the fact that he has a strap now with his little insignia makes me feel like he's probably not losing that thing anytime soon.
Yeah, sometimes when they do that, they lose it right away. So you never know.
I hope not. I hope on my instinct.
I don't think he's losing it in this match. If that's what you're.
No, definitely not in this match. I don't think.
Yeah.
But it was just fucking weird. I don't know. It didn't sit right with me. I tend to think, moving on, that this Triple H thing was a little weird with the Randy Orton stuff. Like, I get it. I like that they were building like KO not being there and KO being the threat, and Randy's like the old man that probably shouldn't be wrestling anymore. I love that aspect of it, but it's weird when I see Triple H now, because I feel like we know he's never going to wrestle again. He cannot wrestle again. So it's like this weird thing where, like, when Randy Orton will say something like, I didn't want Paul Levesque, I want the cerebral assassin, the game. And it's like, well, he doesn't exist anymore, folks. He can't give a pedigree. He has a pacemaker. He could get electrocuted in the middle of the ring. Like, You know what I mean? Like it's just it's a little different. Like I don't know. Maybe I'm just nitpicking about it. But
I think you took this differently than I took it. When
okay.
he gave that line, I took it as like Randy trying to get him to think like a wrestler again. Be like,
Okay.
Paul, think about when you were Triple H. If what had happened to me happened to you, what would you want to happen? So that's the way I took it, as him just being like getting the perspective back on him. So I thought this was kind of cool. I like that Randy like walked by him on the way out and then called him out. Like it's a cool little thing because we know their relationship. I never thought that he would come back, but the one little light bulb that went off in my head, and they're not going to do this, but do you remember how Kevin Owens won the world title the first time?
Mm-hmm.
Who helped him?
Triple H.
Triple H, led by the Authority. So it's one of those like, sure, like I think that's a super long shot where it's something where it's like, you know, that like if he's the one, if Triple H comes in and like screws over Randy and screws over Cody and puts the title on Kevin again, like obviously I don't think they're going to do that, but that little thing popped in my head and be like, man, I wouldn't hate that. But again, I think that's like not even on the radar. I think this was just like a thing like, look at Triple H is a character on the show, even though he runs the show. It's like he's an easy thing when you go out there. People love him. And I just think with the history with Randy, like I didn't mind this because I thought it was a cool way to do it. It's a cool way to get the more rah-rah into Randy Orton and behind this match. Because it's one of those things with the fans. You always dangle the carrot in your face. You tell them they can't have it. And then you're just trying to find a creative way to give it to them. And I think that's all this was.
Okay. Is there anything else that you didn't like?
I didn't really have much else written down in the heat, but it's very possible that I was dozing watching one, if not both of these shows this week. So there could have been things I've missed.
So we talked about the bloodline. Yeah, we're good. We're satisfied with the bloodline.
Yeah, I was happy. Everything bloodline related this week. Oh, and we can talk about. I mean, I did enjoy the Sammy Solo stuff on Monday.
There's an interesting Easter egg there, but like I am curious because we can talk about this more at our predictions because I'm curious how the 6-man tag kind of plays out here. Especially what we think what's lurking in November. So that's an interesting kind of thing there. The one thing I'll go through some other stuff here. Just it's not bad or good, or it might as well be purgatory. But it's just like Zelina Vega and Ivy had a match. I'm glad they had a match, but Zelina Vega
got the win too, right?
I think Zelina moonsault and concussed her almost, but Ivy did get the win. Yes, but it just seemed inconsequential, but it's fine. I mean, they're on TV, good for them. The Seth and Bronson brawl I thought was nice. It's interesting to me. Like if I was going to say Bronson or Royal. Wow. If Bronson Reed doesn't win this matchup, it feels like it's for nothing.
If he doesn't win, I would be stunned. Spoiler for my predictions. Like they would have to do something crazy of why he didn't win for me to buy into him not winning. Because if not, it's like we've done this build just to have him lose to Seth Gatekeeper Rollins.
I hope not. But I will tell you this much. This might be the gummy talking when I was watching last night, but I laughed so fucking hard when Bronson Reed picked up that fucking trash can and hurled it into the truck. It was direct. It made the funniest fucking sound. It was like, and then like Seth Rollins like did his overacting thing. Yeah. And I was just like, I must have watched this like 7 times on Rewind. Like I thought this was super fucking funny. It shouldn't have been funny. Like I should have been like, oh, this is a great brawl, and it was, but it had me cackling like a little kid. It was so funny. Like I hope I don't really want a regular match with these guys. I think that's my biggest takeaway from this. I kind of want to see
more than one though. Don't you agree?
I just want to see a brawl. I don't think putting.
Yeah, I think they'll have like a more of a regular thing, and you know, God, now I'm seeing a scenario where it's like maybe Seth pulls a fast one on him, and then Bronson beats the fuck out of him after the match. Yeah. That sets up some violent match at War Games. Oh fuck!
See, it's not a foregone. It feels like it should be.
It should be Bronson destroys him, and then Seth freaks out and can't let it go. Like Bronson needs to get the first W. In my opinion.
Well, we'll see, because it's all about making him famous. I think that's kind of the key.
Make me famous.
You know, you done it now. But no, it is what it is. Moving on. I think that's pretty much everything we can talk about here, because we kind of glanced over everything else. Would you like to get hopeful?
Glorious.
You're my only hope. Would you like me to go first, or do you have one?
Sure.
Okay, let me make sure I have the right one here. I've got.
Well, if you don't, I can go first. Mine's serious though. I don't want to bring down the vibe.
You want to bring down the vibe?
Yeah.
Go ahead, because I can bring us back. It's fine.
All right. Well, mine's pretty serious. It's pretty simple. Like it's an actual like real hope. I don't know if you guys follow TNA, but they had some injuries at their tapings this week. I believe the Vikino guy got hurt, but Chris Bay seemed to sustain a very, very serious neck injury, spine injury, some injury of some sort. I think he's already gone through some surgery and stuff, but it sure seems like he has a really tough road ahead. So that's a huge bummer because I don't watch as much TNA as I used to, but Chris Bay is one of those guys who has never really came to the WWE, but he's been a guy I've always been aware of, and just through the internet and then seeing some of his stuff, I really enjoy him. So I was really bummed to see this. So my hope's pretty simple is that I hope he can make a full recovery, and I hope he's healthy and doesn't have lingering effects for the rest of his life, and get back in that ring if he can. But I mean, it's just one of those things. I saw some of the other wrestlers created GoFundMe for him because he probably has a lot of medical expenses doing that. So, I mean, but I just hope he's okay because it's a huge bummer. Obviously, you don't want to see this happen to anyone, but Chris Bay seemed to be a guy that, was just on the rise, a very consistent guy, had a good following. Like everyone seemed to like and enjoy, and I certainly enjoyed watching him in the pieces that I've seen him. So, serious hope for like the first time ever in this program from me, but I hope Chris Bay is able to make a full recovery and live his life the way he wants to live it. So hashtag JC knows, hashtag JC's hopes come true. Boom.
My hope is very interesting off of Friday night in the tag team match here. DIY is teasing a breakup.
We are
done.
No longer together.
Yeah, no,
never,
right.
ever.
That's for Ray. Getting back together. So I was watching this and, like, of course, there was miscommunication. Johnny hits them. And then, of course, at the end of the match, there's them, bickering and yelling and screaming. I don't think they're going to break up here. What I think they're going to do is they're going to turn them. And I think here's why. Tommaso Ciampa is an extremely good asshole.
Mm-hmm.
And Johnny, I think watching Johnny do the way, obviously it was a comedy heel. But I think there's got to be some acting chops here for Johnny Gargano, because my thought was, if you're kind of pushing the Motor City Machine Guns as like the babyface tag team, then DIY as a heel tag team feels like you get him enough TV time, and Ciampa can really sink his teeth into being a dick, and maybe Johnny can find that gear of not being beloved and being kind of a prick too. I feel like he's got it in him. He must have that gear. So when I was watching it, I was like, I don't sense a breakup, because I don't think them separately have enough time right now to be featured. So being together and being assholes together feels like it could work. So that's my hope. I think DIY heel side is very interesting. You can get that shitty fucking cat and the garbage disposal tag team song out of there. You can give them a new fucking song with fucking, dead beats or something. I don't know. Like, as long as we don't have Def Leopard or whatever the hell they're called, Def Rebel out, whatever. Like, none of that cat and the garbage disposal nonsense. Get them a real fucking song. Get them some heat. Make them bad guys. That's my hope.
Yeah, I think it works. It keeps the integrity of that tag division. And look, they won the titles as babyfaces, lost them immediately. So it's one of those things. Character-wise, what more do they do there? Flip them. Reverse it. Yeah. So yeah, I
Missy
like
Elliott reference.
I like your hope for once. I'm glad you picked up on that, because sometimes when I drop that, I don't like it. I don't say it properly because it just doesn't come out correctly. But I'm glad you picked up on the reference.
I love Misdemeanor. She's one of my favorites.
It's a GOAT song.
Yeah, absolutely. Should we get to the comeback?
Don't call it a comeback. I'm going to Halloween Havoc. I'm going to NXT, and I'm going to the intro. Gigi Dolan makes her return to NXT television. This is right up her alley. She loves Halloween. She loves the spooky shit. So yeah, it was great to see Gigi Dolan back on our television. So she gets my comeback this week.
When I saw her, I forgot all about her. I'll be honest. I was like, oh,
then
yeah.
you went to Instagram and you remembered all about her.
Well, yeah. Zachary Wentz is a lucky man. Let's just put it that way. Very lucky man. There are things I could do and say, but I'm not going to. Anyway, my comeback, Guthrie, I hope you're standing down so you can stand attention. I am giving sitting down to stand attention. I don't know. I can't speak. I'm tired. Try to raise 2 kids and work a full-time job. It's tough. So I'm going to give it to The Miz and Karrion Kross, because this interaction has my peepers popped. My intrigue, my interest has peaked, Pat, may I say. We've been on this program for weeks, months, years even, talking about Karrion Kross just not being something. And that backstage segment where they were back there and he just, like, all of them just kind of surrounded The Miz, I was just like, I remember a couple weeks ago, I was like, The Miz might bring something out of these people. And I'm starting to believe it, that The Miz, he might be so good. The Miz might be so fucking good at what he does. He is going to make you watch the Wyatts, although that's not hard. And he's going to make Final Testament something interesting. Because here's the thing. We can complain about Cross all we want, but that moment that he faced the Miz face to face and was like sitting there being like, well, you're kind of in a rock and a hard place here. You're with us or you're going to go to the Wyatts. You die either way. And I was just like, this is like, prison shows and stuff. It felt like he was a new guy, new blood in prison, and being like, you can stick with us and you won't die right away, or you could go over there and take your chances. And I thought that aspect of the character of Karrion Kross seems way more believable than whatever fucking nonsense they've been spewing since the fucking pandemic. And I was intrigued by this. And if you go to the socials, there was a Miz getting kidnapped on his own bus by the Wyatts, specifically, your boy Dexter Lumis with the great hair. And then, of course, there's a follow-up from Karrion Kross finding it out and being like, well, he's dead to us. And I was just like, okay, they're taking social media. They're making something with the Miz. They're making something with Karrion Kross. They're doing something with the Wyatts, which, again, Gaga City, right up our alley, right? I'm not hopeful. I'm intrigued. And I'm willing to give it a shot. So that's why they get my comeback.
Here's my worry. Now you're on the bandwagon.
No. I'm not. I'm not on the bandwagon. I said specifically the Miz.
You said the Miz and Karrion Kross.
Well, I'm giving it to Karrion Kross by association. I think
the best performance enhancer in wrestling. They don't need steroids anymore because they have Karrion Kross.
All I'll say is, if the Miz can pull this, here's the thing: Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross should have been a fucking monumental match in NXT. It kind of was. It kind of wasn't because of the pandemic. It was, but it wasn't. Karrion Kross got a bad rap being hurt, and then he got fired, then he got there's so many things that happened to him. He couldn't find his footing. I'll give him a shot. I just don't see him as what he was presented as. I think, and we talked about this, but
yeah, it's especially that's I think the biggest issue we don't talk about enough with NXT is he looked big in NXT, but then you get to the main roster and it's like, oh no, you're the same size as the Miz, who's big compared to most people, but not compared to wrestlers.
Right. Hold on, is there a Karrion Kross bandwagon? I'm not on it.
Look, I've been enjoying the cross thing for a little while now. It's I've been sliding it in my shine here and there. So I'm all for it. My worry is that once you get on Nestle, that's when we go off the tracks.
Am I the Oregon Trail? Does everybody get dysentery? Like, what are you talking about?
You try to ford your way through the river when you should be floating. So
we'll find out. We'll find out. I'm not on. We need an Oregon Trail t-shirt now at tpublic.com/jobberknocker. We can buy all the t-shirts with TJ and everybody else are helping out with. But no,
it's such a fun game.
It really was. Also, Peter Rabbit is very underrated. Also, the what was it? The backyard one with like the baseball. You remember that?
Baseball.
That was like that
Pablo
was
Sanchez. Come on,
Pablo Sanchez, top 5 character of all time on games for kids. I think.
I disagree with that at all.
So I love that game, but no, I just man. There's something about this that it piques my interest for sure. So I'm there. I would assume that Dom is not on the Cross train. So,
well, it sounds like you're ready to finish. So we'll go to the big old finish. And on SmackDown this week, we have Orton and Rhodes taking on Imperium. We have Bianca versus Io Sky versus Piper Niven versus Lash Legend, and we have Liv and Nia face to face.
I mean, I kind of already know what happens, so.
No, yeah, because you read spoilers, but
No, I didn't mean to. It just shows up in my fucking feed. I can't not.
You follow so many fucking dorks. I need to log into your Twitter account and just fucking mute half the people you follow.
I find it interesting, honestly.
Yeah, because
here's the thing that I will say. I'm willing to go to the deep, dark ends of Twitter X to figure out what the dregs of society are thinking. You have to be high class and only be entertained by so many. That's fine.
No, it's just I've seen the people, because a lot of the time you guys share stuff in our knocker chat, and I already have those people muted. So if I click on it, I can see it, but I'm just I've seen these virgins before. I've seen this virginity on my timeline and I've muted it. But you guys still subject yourselves to it. So it's like, it's not one of those things like where it's like I'm avoiding it. It's like, no, I saw it and I fucking put my hand over it because I'm like, this shit, dorks.
But it is interesting, at least for me, to get at a general understanding of someone's warped mind. That's why I like looking at it. I don't know. Maybe it's like it's probably like when you go to like on the highway, everybody slows down to see a car crash. I think that's kind of what it is.
One of those things for your perspective. It probably makes you feel better about your shitty takes.
Probably. There you go.
Turned it into a zing, baby. But yeah, that's SmackDown. Raw, obviously nothing because we got Crown Jewel. Do you want to predict Crown Jewel or do you want to talk about Halloween Havoc first? Up to you.
We can talk about Halloween Havoc if you'd like.
Ooh.
Spooky.
All right, let's run through it. Nestlemania. We kicked off the show with a banger. We had the rematch for the North American Championship. Tony D'Angelo defends against Oba Femi. His entrance, like this was the best one ever because just in that arena, the shots, the aura that man, that's like the fucking word of the year that everyone uses now. But like when I think of the word aura, I see Oba Femi's entrance. This man's amazing. But look at hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC fucking laid this out for you last week. What did I say was going to happen? I said Tony D'Angelo will retain because of his family. It'll take the whole family, but he'll do it. And that still protects Oba because it took a whole fucking family to take him down. And what did they do? HBK fucking nails this shit. He fucking stirs it up. He's smart. Give us a beautiful plate, and I enjoy my dinner.
I like that everybody kind of had a part in this. You know, I think that's
the whole
wonderful.
Family.
I like that aspect of it because even though Tony is not a small guy, it's fun to see him. You see him and you're like, that's an underdog right there.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it. And I think that's a perspective that I didn't think was possible based on his character, but it's good. It's really good. And now seems like Oba's probably not for this NXT world anymore.
He might be for the NXT World Championship. Not right away. Not right away.
Maybe they go to the main roster with him though.
It might. It's one of those things where it's like he's either in the Rumble or he's beating Trick at the Rumble or WrestleMania events.
I mean, he's so young and he's so
that's what I mean. That's what I could see. He could win that NXT title and just fucking hold it. And they could, if they think he's ready, they can call him up around SummerSlam like they do sometimes. Or if they think it's like, no, let's let him continue to develop down here. We don't need to rush this kid. He's already a megastar. There's no need to rush him. Because look, we see this all the time. There's always that, like we even saw like Trick really broke out obviously last year. And it's like the things started going, it was like, oh, they're very high in him. But they were smart enough to know it's like, we don't call him up right away. We got to let him be the guy. Let him be the guy in NXT. And we've seen him continuing to pick things up. So when he does eventually go up, he'll be ready. I could see a similar thing with Oba. I think they'll probably give him a little time off TV. My guess is he returns with a vengeance and obliterates Trick when he's done with Ethan and Ridge.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, moving on.
Next up, we have the women's tag match between the champ, Roxanne Perez, and her teammate, Cora Jade, taking on the two new girls, Julia and Steph Vacker. Thoughts on this match, Nestlemania?
I wanted this to be a tag team title match. It just felt important.
Julia and Vacker have great chemistry. So my hope last week.
Yeah. Huge wings in the house, by the way, since we're talking about these women. Well, to the left, probably. But it is an interesting dynamic between Vacker and, but by the way, Cole fucking Butch Vacker, his name on Friday. I was just like, really? He can't fucking remember how to spell it? What did he say? He called her Vaker or something. I was just like, really? What? Really? Yeah, it was just weird for him to make a flub like that. Anyway, it was interesting to me that Vacker did a spiral tap and won the fucking match.
Dude, her little flippy dippy thing there.
The spiral tap, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Is that what it's called?
Well, it's AJ Styles.
I call them all flippy dippy things. So
it's AJ Styles' original move from way back when, but it's called.
He looks a lot better doing it than AJ Styles.
Well,
and I think AJ Styles would agree with that.
Well, there's not much you can hate about Stephanie Vacker. If you do, I don't know what's wrong with you. But it's fascinating to me, very fascinating how well they gelled. And then to me was like, this was a twofer. We can talk about this later, but man, like the way they had Zarya displayed. Like, I was like, that's a superstar.
Yeah, they showed her at the end of this match, but she wasn't done, as we'll talk about later. This just like to bring the 3-level stars that they've brought in the past, month and a half to NXT in the women's division, an already division that we talk about as the most loaded women's division in wrestling. Like, damn, man, they got cooking because Chef Michaels stirred up, baby. Stir it up. Next up, we had the ambulance match between Ridge Holland and Andre Chase, and Ridge Holland disposed of that bump, threw him in the ambulance. I will say this, Nestlemania.
Say we dispose of that bum.
I love Ridge Holland's theme song. And whenever I hear it, it's like, it's always just gets stuck in my head all day. But yeah, thoughts on this?
What do you think of the match? Like, no,
I thought it started well, and then it just kept going. I was like, I'm ready for it to end.
It felt a little long.
It was way too long.
Way too long. I think
it started off great, but then it was just like, no, let's wrestle. And I was like, it's an ambulance match.
Maybe my thought was, if you're trying to rebuild Ridge, shouldn't he kind of run train on this?
I mean, he won, so I think he's fine. Then obviously what he did at the end of the night is what they were aiming towards. That was my thoughts with him. But I look at here's my issue with ambulance matches and with like matches like this is that obviously the whole point is you got to bring him up the ramp, throw him in the fucking ambulance. So we got there pretty early. They're up the ramp. And they're trying to throw each other in the ambulance. But then we ended up back in the ring. That's where you lose me. And I think that's where they lost me in this match. Just like, why would the competitors go back to the ring, which has no bearing on the finish of this match, to wrestle when they want to kill each other and throw each other in ambulance? That's the disconnect. It's another weird thing, but that's why maybe the issue was they went to the ambulance too soon. They shouldn't have got there so soon, but that's the whole point of the match. So it's just one of those, it's a flawed match and it went on too long.
And I don't think people get really excited for the door slamming. Like, it just, I don't know. It
was also a weird ambulance, right?
It was a hearse. Yeah.
Yeah. We did like a hearse ambulance.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, that's what they did, buddy.
Yeah. Well, guess what? We're not back in the day in SMA. It's 2024, motherfucker.
And there's Andre Chase wearing a fucking Freddy Krueger sweater. So, you know.
Andre Chase is perfect for NXT.
Yep. Never move up and you'll be fine. Perennial NXT.
Gauntlet matches. We found it from the start of the night where Kalani would have to defeat all three members of Fatal Attraction. No, yes. I always want to say Toxic Attraction because it's my girls, but look it.
Sorry, it's Toxic Influence. I'm sorry, you're right.
Fatal Influence, not Toxic Attraction. It's fatal. Yeah, see, it's confusing. Yeah. It's confusing.
It also has a member of both in it, so it's like, you know.
Well, I will say this: my Fatal Influence is Jasmine Nix. By God, whoo, mama, love her. We knew she'd be first. We knew Kalani would beat her. I'm glad she stuck around, though, because we got to see her a few more times. We knew JC Jane would be second. And we knew Kalani would beat JC Jane, dispose of her. Then we knew Fallon Henley would come out. And Fallon Henley, Nestlemania, got the big dub, baby. Yeehaw! Cowboy up. Thanks to Jasmine, I believe, who was the difference. But I actually kind of like this booking. I think it makes sense. And then, obviously, after the match, out came Zarya. And she absolutely obliterated them. So we know we're going next. But again, we can talk about her as well because her thing. But obviously, we're both big Fallon guys. So we're happy for them. But I think my biggest takeaway from all this was Jasmine Nix.
Well, if you follow her on her socials, you're going to be like, yep, that's a thing.
Yeah. She'll make Rikishi hand to the left and right.
Huge Wang needs to become a fan of her for sure.
The huger Wang will get huger if you see Jasmine Nix.
From huge to enormous Wang is what we're trying to say here.
Unfathomable Wang.
Girthy, if you will.
Oh God. Okay, let's stop.
All right. Anyway. So it was a good match. I was excited that Fallon won. She's our girl. She's doing a great job. She's been doing a great job for the last couple of years and really no recognition whatsoever. So it's nice to see her win. My immediate thought was, well, Zarya's winning that thing like this week, but that's fine if it happens.
When you have three people, I think Fallon will hold up for a little bit, but we know where it's going to end up.
But Zarya, I just love the presentation of it.
She looks like a badass. I know nothing about her. And I feel like most people like you, I know she's an Australian wrestler, which they've had good luck with Rhea Ripley, Bronson Reed, Grayson Waller, Indy Hartwell. They've been banging out the hits with their Aussies. So I have faith they have another one here, but it's just like, I know nothing about her, but literally the way they presented her from the vignettes to the entrances to her look, I'm just like, this chick's a fucking badass and she will fucking yeet anyone in that ring.
It's going to be interesting to see what Shawn Michaels will do because it's like Zarya's kind of the North American tier, but you have the Julia Vacker and all those girls up top there. It's like you've got much to play with here. So it's interesting.
Such a good division, man. And never mind, it's like at the next one, we already have the first match book is my girl Lola against my girl Jada in a street fight. So it's just like the depth of this division, man, the talent they have. And it's just like, because we talk about it all the time, it's crazy that the main roster, like, yes, it's split, but it's like the women's divisions feels thin. But then we look down at NXT and it's just like, man, you got a lot of superstars here, so it's really good for the future. Hopefully,
I just hope that they don't call up these youngins too soon because they need to marinate.
They've been patient.
They need to marinate. However, I will say this much: it is interesting to see if Zarya, like right now, if you had to guess, would Zarya be the one you think to be like, if you had to pick, right? Let's say right now you got Julia, you got Vacker, and you got Zarya. If you had a crystal ball, 5 years from now, who's the biggest star?
That's a tough one.
May I interject to give you some time?
Well, I don't know. Okay, I don't even know. It's like, is Zarya a good wrestler? I don't even know the answer to that question. I don't care at this point, but that's a tough question, Nestlemania. I want to hear your answer first.
Hands down, I will say Zarya.
Right. Won't be
here's why.
Now Nestle curse. So
yep. Here's why. Right. Because the Australia connection to Rhea Ripley, seeing Rhea Ripley versus Zarya feels like they're trying to build that 3 to 5 years from now. Because they're so similar yet so different. I can see it. I can see it happening. I think Vacker's going to be a huge star. Julia, clearly, and just so much aura, so much equity you can put in that woman. But I think those two will probably have a harder time with the promo department. So that's one small step against them versus Zarya, who will obviously be able to connect with the fans a lot quicker.
Do we know that? Have you ever heard her talk?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's my guess. I could be wrong. 5 years, let's check in. But I'm just saying.
Nestle cursed the poor girl. But either way, I think they got 3 studs. And you know what's crazy, Nestlemania? We're talking about these 3, but we're not even mentioning the champion, who's literally called the Prodigy,
who's amazing.
Might have the biggest upside of any woman ever. But long way to go with her. But she just continues to get better. And she's like, what, 23,
I think?
Yeah, fuck, insanity.
Yeah.
This girl was what, Ring of Honor champion when she was 18, 19? Come on. So the amount of talent coming and to add to what we already got, because it's like Rhea and Bianca ain't going anywhere. We got some young, and they're still young themselves and stuff. So it's like future's looking bright.
Okay.
Main event: Trick Williams. Whoop that Trick. Ethan Page. Look at this match is about what I expected. It was violent, a lot of chair shots. I thought it was good. Trick retains as expected. After the match, out comes Ridge Holland to attack. And before this, they had done a tease. And they had Ridge Holland kind of going at it with Bubba. Bubba Ray, whatever the fuck you want to call him. And I was like, oh my God. If they do a Ridge Bully matchup, Nestle's going to lose his mind. But it seemed you might have got bailed out because it sure seems like it'll be a tag team match playa with Ethan and Ridge versus Trick and Bubba yelling at the black guy to go get the tape.
I was just going to make that joke. Here's
the beauty of the booking is because it'll fucking work and people go nuts for it. And Trick probably wants to do it so fucking bad. But it's one of those things where it's just like, you just look at it and you're like, man, it's going to fucking work.
It's going to happen at the ECW arena. They're having that.
Trick Dudley also sounds like a real.
Trick Dudley sounds like it. Yeah. He could probably go and wear the tie-dye and the whole thing. It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I'm excited to see this NXT at the ECW arena, just because it's a very well-known in terms of wrestling history.
Watch Lola and Jada beat the fuck out of each other.
I cannot wait for Dawn Marie. I know she's not Dawn Marie.
Years past. That Dawn Marie.
That should have got our comeback. Literally.
How old is she now?
She's got to be in her 50s. But still, you know what? It doesn't matter.
Lola and Jada knew who Dawn Marie was before this?
No, fuck no. They had no fucking clue.
She's hilarious.
I think she's going to be taking, literally everybody is going to be on overload in this matchup. That was my thought when I was listening to what they were saying. But anyway, I am curious what your thoughts are on Bubba Ray Dudley being interjected, because it's the ECW arena specifically, but in general.
Works for this, and I think the tag match is a much better idea, and you just stick them here, and it'll work. It'll work. It makes sense. And I think, look at Ridge, obviously this gives him a nice rub, but having a guy like Ethan in there is just going to make this so much easier because he's so fucking good. And he's someone that you can have go toe-to-toe with Bubba on the mic, and he will not seem out of place, and it'll probably be really good.
You know what was interesting to me was all these people, and again, you don't have these versions on your timeline, so it's fine. But I saw all these people talking about how Bully Ray is like, oh, I'm a journalist. I cover every wrestling thing. I'm not on the ticket. I'm not in the back pocket of WWE. And then they do this, and it's like, oh my God, they're not helping their cause here because all the neckbeards came out and tried to do something. And I was just like, can you just let the guy have a fucking moment? Like, he's not wrestling for the NXT title. This
is why it's perfect. Exactly. It's one of the, if he's coming back and he's fighting for the title, it's like, come on. But it's just like, it's not one of those things. Like, embrace these types of things, you fucking virgins.
I mean, like, it's going to be a lot of cool stuff, I would imagine, at the ECW arena.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they're going to
a lot of callbacks.
If RVD is not part of this show, I would be fucking shocked. One of my top 5 all time.
Is he still fucking with AEW, or is he kind
of? No, he's got a Legends deal with WWE.
Well,
so
guess what? He's going to be there.
Do you think, here's my thing, RVD versus Wesley or against the other dude who should have not fucked up the RKO?
Bouncy?
Yeah.
Triple threat that shit.
Really? Okay. I mean, just
way too much athleticism for
let them all get high ahead of time and then just fucking.
That kid's like 20 something, like 20.
Well, here's 21. The thing: if you look at Javon Evans backstage, he had a little thing of RVD in the picture with all the other guys, and I was like, well, there's your foreshadowing. But
maybe that'll be a tag match too. Who knows?
But RVD, man, like he's got to be on it, and he's still RVD.
I mean, he's every time we see him, he still looks great.
Doesn't age.
Great. Yeah.
I mean, if they got Sabu, that would be great. Like, there's so many things you could pull out there.
Has too many issues.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I would be stunned. AEW learned their lesson from that one.
Well, yeah, you would think, but there's a lot of ECW things we could do here. It'd be really funny. If they called back the zombie, I'd have a good chuckle too, but that's just me. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I don't know when this is. I think it's soon, but it's coming.
Yeah, and it's
like somewhere in November.
Yeah. Somewhere. I don't know. I feel like
maybe it's 2 weeks away. I don't know, but it's coming.
I think it's in the middle because I think War Games is the end of the month, right? So
right. So
I doubt it's the same weekend.
All right, it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
Crown Jewel time.
Let's get jewels.
I believe we have 7 matches to predict, Adam.
All right, Josh.
Are you ready?
No, I'm not adequately prepared to predict, but let's do it anyway.
6-man tag match for the Bloodline title. Roman Reigns and the Usos take on the Bloodline of Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and or Jacob Fatu. So we actually don't know who's in it, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Nestlemania, this feels like the baby faces role. I think either way, this feels like a setup where Sammy's going to have to save them from a beatdown to even the odds. If they don't do it here, they'll do it on the SmackDown after, but feel like they'll do it here because Sammy will get a massive pop. So maybe Roman and the Usos didn't win, but I'll pick Roman and the Usos.
You pick Roman and the Usos.
Yeah.
It's funny because TJ wrote Bloodline.
Versus
so it's
Bloodline?
Like, well, no, it's just like he's like Roman and the Usos versus the Bloodline. I'm like, well,
it's called the Bloodline. This is what the group is called.
Can he say that it's either? Like, I need a little bit more.
Because you saw the Usos promo. They said they're not part of a group. They can be the Usos, but they're still Jay and they're still Jimmy. So
okay, that's fine. I'm gonna type in what you said there. You want the
Roman and the Usos.
Okay,
the Russos.
The Russos. Oof. Yikes. I'm gonna go with here. If I had the pencil, I don't have a pencil. I have a pen here. As you can see, it's a little golf. I've got props too, baby. Since you didn't bring out your props today, I will bring out my props. Anyway, if I was booking this, heels are going over. Heels are going over big time. Everybody thinks Sammy's going to slide in and save the day. It looks like Sammy's going to slide in and save the day. Some gaga happens, and he accidentally hits one of the Bloodline, the original Bloodline people. Like maybe it's Jimmy or Jay or Roman, and there's some kerfluffle, and then they have to fucking make it. Because I feel like if they've express ship Jay and Jimmy and Roman together, then the big play is the reuniting with Sami Zayn. Or even more interesting here, if maybe Sami Zayn stays out of it and they get like a Cody Rhodes or something to join, it'd be interesting.
I mean, the fact that they're teasing Sammy's a part of this, confirmed.
Okay, but do you think that Sami Zayn just automatically, like, it's just happy?
No, I can see him dragging it out. Like I said, if it's just one of those things, like if it doesn't happen here, it could happen the next SmackDown, but it also, like, I don't have any faith that Roman's working every fucking SmackDown leading up. So They, as we've seen with a lot of this stuff, they kind of had to rush it. But next up, we have a fatal four-way tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defend their titles against Meta-4, Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven. Nestlemania, I ask you, do we have new champs or do the champs retain?
Fuck no. Same. Keep it going.
Yeah.
I mean, what else are they gonna do? Like, you can't split them up yet. It's too early. Like, it's not Mania season.
Yeah, they're winning. This will be a good showcase, though. Happy for all these women getting a shot here. I think it's a good match. Next up, triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship, being defended in Saudi Arabia. LA Knight, defends against Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. I'll make this easy for you, Nestlemania, because we talked about this earlier. Give me LA Knight,
Heel tactics or no heel tactics?
Triple threats, they can do whatever the fuck they want.
I'm going to pick LA Knight and maybe by some type of heel tactic chicanery. That's what I'm going to say.
All right. I like it. Next up, singles match. Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. I'm taking KO. Who you got?
KO. I think it's interesting. It's more interesting with KO winning than it is Randy Orton.
100%. And it feels like these two will still have some unfinished business potentially even after this match. So we have another singles match. Seth freaking Rollins versus Big Bronson Reed. Nestlemania. Who you got in this one?
You're making me go first so you can play defense, aren't you?
I mean, I know who I'm going to pick.
You said it was going to be Bronson Reed, but now you're not so sure, are you?
No, I try to alternate who goes first, but sometimes I forget and I just make the pick. So I try to alternate.
All right, well, I'm picking Bronson Reed because it should be Bronson Reed.
I agree, but give me Seth Rollins.
Fuck you. What the hell are you talking about?
I spun it, reversed it.
Do you want Seth Rollins to win, or you just expect?
No, I want Bronson Reed. I agree with that, but I'm picking Seth Rollins.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just asking. That's all.
Next up, singles match for the inaugural WWE Women's Crown Jewel Championship. Liv Morgan, the Raw Women's Champion, will defend, or no, she won't. She's not defending shit. She's going for it against Nia Jax, the SmackDown WWE Women's Champion, who is also not defending. She's going for it. This is a weird one because I feel like Nia should win, but I feel like that's why Liv will win because there's going to be some Tiffy nonsense. There's going to be Raquel. So I'm going to pick Liv Morgan in the upset.
I'm also picking Liv Morgan.
Smart man. Copied me. So I'll let you go first in the last one, Nestlemania. Singles match for the inaugural WWE Crown Jewel Champion. The Raw's World Heavyweight Champion Gunther takes on the SmackDown's undisputed WWE Championship, Cody Rhodes. Who you got?
Well, if it ends the show, are you really going to end with the heel on top? That's a tough sell, right? Unless bum 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 bum.
Gunther. That's
what I'm going to say is going to happen. Gunther wins, Goldberg spear, end of day.
Yeah, I'm picking Gunther too. I don't know if I'm doing the Goldberg shot, but Gunther.
Come on. Just be a lad.
I mean, I want it, WrestleMania. The minute I saw that segment on whatever show that was on, I was like, I want that match. It's 2024 and I want a Goldberg match? Why, yes, I do, please. Thank you.
Do you think Gunther can make Goldberg probably have his best match ever? I feel like it's there.
I don't know about that, but I think just the nonsense alone, it'll be good. And watching Gunther slap fucking Bill will be hilarious.
This is going to be brutal when it does happen, though. It's going to be fucking brutal.
It'll be great. It'll be a nice.
It can't be more than 10 minutes because we know
it doesn't have. It'll be perfect. I have all the faith in the world in Gunther, Triple H, and well, I don't have all the faith in Bill because he might concuss himself on the way to the ring. But
alrighty then.
CT.
It is what it is. Before we wrap up or talk about AEW, I do want to know if did you find out today about the WWE ID? Did you see that?
I read it, but I didn't really look deep into it. But it seems like they're trying to make a stranglehold on everything, which is hilarious.
Right. And one of them, by the way, is in New Hampshire, which is very well known to a lot of people that I work with. So it's interesting to see these little farm systems becoming more farm systems. So Tony has already made a joke to me that he's going to be a licensed and bonded WWE wrestler. He's like, excuse me, sir.
I love it.
Can you show me your WWE ID, please? Because you can't get it. Like, he's already got jokes. He's already.
I mean, the name itself is funny.
So I've had a lot of conversations today with a lot of my friends about how this is going to pan out, because a lot of people are actually nervous that this is going to have the NXT UK effect for independence. Do you understand what that is or no? Do you think it's going to dry up the independence? Because my wonder here is, I'm assuming it's going to be good for everybody.
I think it's good for everyone.
I think it's good.
That's
But
the beauty. That's why I love the NIL thing that WWE does. It's just like it's more opportunity. It's more opportunity for people to get a chance. It's more opportunity to find fucking people that you might not normally find.
I think the one thing that people are worried about is and this is something that not a lot of people are privy to, but when you have signed deals with certain places, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to lose. Or I'm sorry, I can't make this date, or I can't do this, I can't do that. You can do this with me though. And it pigeonholes a lot of people, and then like they pull out of dates, or they can't use this person correctly. And so it's an interesting dichotomy that not a lot of people know about, but there is a backstage feeling of it. So I'm just curious.
That's always going to happen though when you have a big name. Look at if you're booking a bigger name, like they're going to have demands. They're going to cost more. They're going to have demands. It is an added element, but I think overall I think it's good for everyone.
I hope you're right.
More exposure and more opportunity is good for everyone.
I hope you're right. I just got to get on. I got to get on an elite pro wrestling show and go to WFA and just get on their commentary so I get picked up by WWE. Swear.
There you go.
Well, a lot easier said than done, but I'll do it. God damn it, one way or the other. You know.
Yep. Well, if we're talking AEW, you got to drive the ship because I don't drive AEW ships anymore.
No, that's fine. I believe.
I burn the AEW ships.
I believe.
Dun, dun, dun.
I believe, by the way, that I believe that we will win. No, I'm going back to. I remember I sent the whole thing, so I want to make sure I have it because it's hard to find. Here we go. Ready? Okay. AEW folks, we are doing a Friday Night Dynamite. We're going to do a Hangman. We'll hear from Hangman Adam Page, probably talking about Jay White. I don't know. We also have Adam Cole, Flabbe, Bebe, body shamed by Buddy Matthews. Seems like it. Have you seen this whole thing where the first person to fucking get 3 wins gets to face MJF? You see that shit?
What?
Did you see that last week on Dynamite? No? With the lady rubbing his shoulders and stuff? No, you didn't see that.
The first one of who?
Okay.
I saw the lady rubbing his thing, but I wasn't
rubbing his thing. Roddy Strong.
Okay.
And Adam Cole.
Okay.
Both have to compete, and the first person to get 3 wins gets to face MJF first.
Right. It's like what?
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid. Tony,
and you know
stop
that
smoking, fucking snorting shit up your nose, and fucking think. If like you're asking us to think too much. Don't ask us to think this much. Just be entertaining. You stupid fuck. Next.
It's bizarre. Coming up next, we've got the Brick House. She's a brick house. Camille against Chris Statlander, which has turned back babyface for absolutely no reason, really, it feels like to me. But here we are.
Didn't she turn like full heel on Willow? She's a babyface now?
I don't know. It's bizarre. Camille and again, gonna be a good match, but it's just like
I'm excited for the match. I didn't realize she went full babyface. Are you sure it's just not AEW booking heel versus heel?
I don't think so. It is
because they just say
there's no longer
with Willow,
but there's no Stokely.
I don't fucking he's been flirting with Private Party now, hasn't he?
Yeah. And we have a feeling. So here's the other thing. Orange Cassidy live. Now, if I can indulge you for 30 seconds, I know you're not really loving AEW, but I just could not take all of those people waiting for John Moxley in the parking lot seriously when Karen Jarrett is the tallest person in the fucking background.
That shit was so bad.
And no offense, and I'm sure Chuck Taylor is a very lovely man. But I don't give a flabby flying fuck about that guy. And you're going to tell me that you're going to build a fucking moment around this piece of shit just dying in the middle of the ring?
I mean, that's Orange Cassidy's friend.
So who cares? Orange
Cassidy clearly cares.
Yeah, but Orange Cassidy's not going to beat him. Like that's
shit. That's the whole point, Nestle. Not everyone has to beat someone, but it's like you build up people, and that's how Moxley gets wins.
I mean, I don't mind Orange Cassidy being the I beat him before, I can do it again. That's fine.
See, you're writing it.
But God damn it, Chuck Taylor. Chuck Taylor, are you out of your mind? Chuck Taylor, come on.
You just hate him for no reason. You hate him more than Moxley does, apparently.
Moxley doesn't like him?
I mean, Moxley killed him.
Oh, well, that's not real. I thought you were talking about real. And then, of course, the JC main event, Swerve Strickland versus Shelty B. They ain't no stopping him now. This is obviously a match of the year for the knockers for JC, and he's going to pick this. There's no reason we have to wait till December. This is the match for JC.
I mean, I'm excited. This is a match I've always wanted to see, so I'm excited they're doing it. Yeah.
Do you think Big Bob makes his first appearance on this one?
No, I feel like since they haven't done it yet, they're gonna save it for something. Doesn't feel like
The next, whatever.
I'd be surprised if they blew it on this. Unless
full
this is the
gear.
main event. If this is the main event, then maybe, but I don't think it's the main event.
Speaking of the main event, it's the Young Bucks defending the AEW World Tag Team titles. The Young Bucks against Private Party. If Private Party loses, they split up. Now, they've been teasing it for a very long time. There's been some
the moment.
Okay.
Break them up.
Okay. So it's done.
AEW, they might actually give them a moment, but no, I'd break them up because you missed the moment. And if you try to chase it, it's not going to be as good. So break them up.
There were some good points of AEW this week, I will say, or at least last week.
It's gotten bad the last couple weeks.
There's a lot of good storytelling. It's just fascinating to me that they shit on stuff, but like, oh, we're not going to do this. But then they go back and like their better shows are when they have good storytelling. So just make it make sense, and I'm interested. Like that. Yeah. That's it. Like I don't need you to give me something fucking to wow me. Just give me some logical thing, and I'll be okay.
It's one of those like you can have your random. This is the biggest disconnect between the virgins of AEW and the virgins of WWE. It's not one or the other. You get both. We're just asking to have some things make sense. You can still have your fucking random flippy dippy match on the card. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you got to have substance in places, especially in your biggest matches and with your biggest stars for people to give a fuck. And then you can sprinkle in the fun stuff. That's the disconnect. It's like, it's not one or the other. It's both. But for AEW, they've been really, really deficient in their vitamin B storylines. So they're vitamin B, C, and D. They've been giving us no vitamins. Maybe a little A here and there, but that's about it. But they're starting to give us a little more vitamins. So we're getting a little healthier and we're enjoying the show.
Something else that didn't get brought up that should have been your comeback or your shine was Anna Jay beat Mariah May in a title eliminator match. That's right. Somebody finally won an eliminator match, JC.
I mean, Anna Jay is always in the shine.
Did you see the sign that said Anna Jay hasn't improved? That just made me laugh.
It was when Mariah May posted it. Yeah. I think she's improved.
Well, yeah, maybe some parts of her body, but that's fine.
I think she's improved. I think she's gotten better at wrestling.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. This is a fun little feud. The problem is when I look at this, I'm like, this is a mid-card title. It's just like unfortunately, that's what it feels like. But that's been the issue with this women's division since you put the title on Mercedes there. I don't know. Mariah's just waiting to fight Mira or Tony at this point before people are really going to care again. But Anna's done a good job, and so is Mariah.
I will say this much. The last 2 weeks of AEW have been very enjoyable in terms of the character development stuff. I don't really watch AEW for the matches because I feel like I'm expecting a good match. So I'm not really interested in some of the, like, for most of the roster, it's a who's who of I don't give a shit.
You know what I just realized? The best part of that graphic, you know who's not on it for the first time in like months?
Who?
I can't say his name. You're supposed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Think about it. We don't have to fucking learn from a piece of wood that grows out of the ground. That piece of shit isn't on the card.
You don't know that.
Do something, but no, I'm just saying. It's like this is the first time I've looked at an AEW card and it hasn't been advertised. That useless piece of fucking shit, and it looks so much better without him. Just saying.
Don't think he's going to realize that he needs to stop. I think he's just going to keep going because he's who he is. So, you know,
sucks.
All right.
Get him off my TV.
Anything else you want to talk about? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm done.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week, Wednesday.
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. Tuesday next week, live next week for some more Jobber Knockery.